Deep within a sun-dappled forest, where ancient trees whispered secrets to the wind, lived a kind-hearted young man named Timmy. Timmy was an orphan, which meant he didn't have a mum or a dad. But he had something very special, a strong spirit and a trusty iron axe. This axe wasn't fancy or sparkling, but it was Timmy's most prized possession. Every morning, he'd sharpen its blade until it gleamed, then head into the woods to chop firewood. It was hard work, but it was how Timmy earned his daily bread and kept his small, cozy cabin warm. Timmy loved the forest. He knew all its nooks and crannies, the best berry bushes, and the quietest spots where deer liked to graze. His favorite place, however, was by the swift current river. It wasn't just a river. It was a magnificent, powerful waterway that tumbled over smooth stones and rushed past ancient tree roots with a cheerful, gurgling song. Its waters sparkled like 1,000 tiny diamonds under the sun, and sometimes, if Timmy was very still, he could spot a flash of silver as a fish leaped high into the air. One bright, beautiful morning, Timmy was working near the riverbank. He had found a particularly sturdy oak tree that had fallen during a recent storm, and its wood would fetch a good price in the village market. Whack went his axe, sinking deep into the tough bark. Whack again, a rhythm that echoed through the quiet woods. Timmy felt strong and happy. The sun warmed his back, and the river sang its lively tune beside him. He swung his axe high, ready for another powerful stroke. But then, something terrible happened. As the axe reached its peak, ready to arc downwards, Timmy's foot slipped on a patch of moss hidden beneath some fallen leaves. His hands flew open, surprise widening his eyes. In a horrifying slow-motion moment, the beloved iron axe flew from his grasp. It spun through the air, glinting once, twice, before splash. It vanished into the churning, hungry waters of the swift current river. Timmy gasped. His heart thumped against his ribs like a trapped bird. He rushed to the river's edge, peering desperately into the clear, yet swiftly moving water. He could see the pebbles and stones at the bottom, but the current was too strong, too quick. It had already swept his precious axe away, deeper and deeper, until it was completely out of sight. His hands trembled, and a lump formed in his throat. Without his axe, how would he chop wood? How would he earn money? How would he eat or keep warm? All his hopes and dreams seemed to have sunk into the river with his only tool. A single tear traced a path down his dusty cheek. Timmy sat down on the riverbank, his shoulders slumping, and buried his face in his hands. The cheerful gurgle of the river now sounded like a mocking laugh, and the sun-dappled forest seemed to dim around him. He felt utterly, completely lost. What would he do now? His future, once as clear as the river on a calm day, was now as murky and uncertain as its deepest depths. He couldn't imagine a life without his axe, without his purpose. He just sat there, listening to the river rush by, wishing with all his might that he could somehow retrieve his lost treasure. Suddenly, the water before him began to shimmer and glow with an otherworldly light. The gurgling of the river softened, and a gentle mist rose from the surface. Timmy lifted his head, his eyes wide with disbelief. A figure, graceful and radiant, was rising from the water. It was the river spirit, her hair like flowing water weeds, and her eyes sparkling like the river itself. She looked at Timmy with a kind, knowing smile. "Why do you weep, young woodcutter?" she asked, her voice like the soft sound of water flowing over smooth stones. Timmy, still in shock, stammered, I lost my axe. It was my only one, my livelihood. It fell into your river, and now I have nothing." He pointed a trembling finger at the spot where his axe had disappeared. The river spirit nodded compassionately. "I understand," she said. Your sorrow has touched my heart. Wait here." With that, she sank back into the depths. A moment later, she reappeared, holding an axe that shone so brightly it hurt Timmy's eyes. It was made of pure, gleaming gold, and it sparkled in the sunlight as if it were a star that had fallen from the sky. "Is this magnificent golden axe the one you lost?" she asked. Timmy stared at it in awe. An axe like that could make him rich beyond his wildest dreams. He could buy the biggest house, the finest clothes, and never have to work another day in his life. But he was an honest young man. Shaking his head, he replied, "No, that's a beautiful axe, but it is not mine. My axe was just a simple iron one." The spirit smiled, pleased with his answer, and disappeared beneath the water once more. This time, she emerged holding an axe made of polished, shimmering silver. It reflected the trees and the sky on its flawless surface. "Then perhaps this silver axe is yours?" she inquired. Again, Timmy was tempted. The silver axe was worth a great deal, enough to keep him comfortable for a very long time. But it was not his. "Thank you for your kindness," Timmy said respectfully, "but that is not my axe either. Mine was old and well used, made only of iron." The river spirit's smile grew wider. She was deeply impressed by the young man's honesty. For a third time, she disappeared into the river. When she returned, she was holding 3 axes. In one hand was the golden axe, in the other was the silver one, and held between them was Timmy's plain old, familiar iron axe, water still dripping from its handle. "You have a true and honest heart, Timmy," the spirit declared, her voice ringing with approval. "Because you did not lie, even when faced with great temptation, I will return your own axe to you." She held out his iron axe, and Timmy gratefully took it, his heart swelling with relief. "And for your remarkable honesty," she continued, "I want you to have these as well." She then handed him both the golden axe and the silver axe. Timmy couldn't believe his eyes. He tried to protest, but the river spirit simply shook her head. "Honesty is a treasure far more valuable than gold or silver," she said. "You have earned this reward." And with a final, brilliant smile, she sank back into the river, leaving Timmy on the bank with his 3 axes and a lesson he would never forget. From that day on, Timmy was no longer poor. He used the gold and silver to help himself and the other orphans in his village, but he continued to chop wood for his living with his old trusty iron axe, always remembering that the greatest treasure of all was the honesty within his own heart. Timmy sat by the bank of the swift current river, his head bowed in sorrow. The fast-flowing water, which usually sang a cheerful tune, now seemed to mock his despair. Each ripple that danced on the surface carried away a small piece of his hope, and the gentle gurgle of the river sounded like a sad, endless sigh. His stomach rumbled with a hollow ache, but he barely noticed the pang of hunger. How could he earn his daily bread without his trusty iron axe? The sun climbed higher in the bright blue sky, warming his back with its gentle rays, but it couldn't chase away the cold knot of worry that had settled deep in his heart. He felt utterly, completely lost in his grief. Suddenly, a gentle, reedy voice broke through his gloomy thoughts. "Why the long face, young man?" Timmy looked up, startled by the unexpected sound. Standing beside him, as if he had simply materialized from the shimmering river mist, was a kind old man with a long flowing white beard that reached all the way to his waist. His eyes, full of wisdom, twinkled like distant stars, and his face was lined with 1,000 gentle smiles. He was dressed in simple, homespun clothes and leaned upon a smooth, gnarled walking stick that looked as ancient as the trees around them. "Oh, good sir," Timmy stammered, quickly wiping a tear from his cheek with the back of his hand. "I'm Timmy, a woodcutter. and I've had a terrible misfortune. My only axe, my livelihood, slipped from my grasp and fell into this swift river. Now I have nothing, and I don't know what I'll do." The old man listened patiently, his wise eyes fixed on Timmy's troubled face. A small, knowing smile played on his lips as he stroked his magnificent long beard. "An axe, you say? A woodcutter's axe?" he mused, his voice calm and soothing. "Perhaps I can help you, young Timmy. Wait here a moment." Before Timmy could even reply, the old man, with a surprising agility that defied his age, stepped to the river's edge. Without a moment's hesitation, he plunged into the churning cold water. Timmy gasped, his heart leaping with worry for the kind stranger. He was about to call out, to tell him not to risk himself, but just as he opened his mouth, the old man resurfaced. In his hand, held high above the water, was an axe that shimmered and sparkled under the morning sunlight. It wasn't just any axe. It was made of pure, gleaming silver, its polished surface reflecting the blue sky and the green trees like a perfect mirror. "Is this your axe, my boy?" the old man asked, his voice calm as he extended the magnificent tool towards Timmy. "It's quite a beautiful piece, isn't it?" Timmy's eyes widened in amazement. He had never seen anything so grand or so beautiful. For a fleeting moment, a tiny flicker of temptation sparked deep within him. He could be rich. But then, he remembered his simple, honest iron axe, with its worn wooden handle and sturdy blade, and his heart felt a pang of guilt for even thinking of it. "No, good sir," Timmy said, shaking his head firmly. "That silver axe is truly splendid, but it is not mine. My axe was made of plain, strong iron, not silver." The old man's starry eyes seemed to twinkle a little brighter at Timmy's honest answer. He nodded slowly, a faint, pleased smile playing on his lips. Without another word, he plunged back into the swirling depths of the swift current river. Timmy watched, holding his breath, his heart pounding with a mix of hope and wonder as he waited to see what would happen next. This time, when the old man emerged from the water, he held an axe even more dazzling than the last. It glowed with a warm, golden light, as if it had been forged from a piece of the sun itself. It caught every sunbeam, scattering brilliant sparks of light across the riverbank and making Timmy shield his eyes. "Then surely this magnificent golden axe is yours?" the old man asked, his voice soft but clear, his gaze steady and unwavering. "It would make any woodcutter the envy of the entire land." Timmy stared at the golden axe, utterly amazed by its breathtaking beauty. It was an axe fit for a king, a treasure beyond his wildest dreams. His mind raced, imagining all the wonderful things he could do with such a prize. He could buy a new cabin, fine clothes, and never be hungry again. But just as quickly, his honest heart spoke up, loud and clear. "Oh no, sir," Timmy exclaimed, his voice filled with genuine sincerity. "My axe was nothing like this. It was just a simple iron axe, much loved and well used. I could never, ever claim something so grand that doesn't belong to me, even if I have nothing left." The old man smiled, a genuine warmth spreading across his face, pleased with the boy's unwavering honesty. Timmy stood frozen, his eyes wide with disbelief, as Grandpa Sage held up the dazzling golden axe. The sun caught its polished surface, making it gleam like a captured star. Yet, despite its undeniable beauty and immense value, Timmy's heart didn't stir with longing. He knew, deep down, that it wasn't his. His honesty, as solid and dependable as his own iron axe, wouldn't let him claim what wasn't rightfully his. "No, Grandpa Sage," Timmy said, his voice soft but firm, his gaze fixed on the magnificent tool. "That magnificent axe is truly splendid, but it's not mine. My axe was made of simple, strong iron. I could never take something so precious that doesn't belong to me, no matter how much I wish I had an axe to work with again." He looked down at his worn boots, a heavy sigh escaping him. The thought of his plain iron axe, now lost forever at the bottom of the river, brought a fresh wave of sadness. Grandpa Sage watched Timmy intently, a gentle, knowing smile playing on his lips. His eyes, full of ancient wisdom, seemed to twinkle with a secret joy. He nodded slowly, a look of profound approval settling on his kind face. "Very well, young Timmy," he said, his voice a warm rumble that seemed to echo the river's flow. "You are a truly honest soul. Let me try one last time." With those words, Grandpa Sage turned back to the swift-current river. Without a moment's hesitation, he plunged into the swirling water for the third time. Timmy held his breath, his eyes glued to the spot where the old man had disappeared beneath the surface. The river seemed to churn a little faster, and the air around him grew thick with anticipation. Would Grandpa Sage come back this time? And if he did, what would he bring? It felt like an eternity, though it was only a few heartbeats before Grandpa Sage resurfaced. This time, there was no dramatic flash, no shimmering light. Instead, he simply held up a familiar, dark, and sturdy object. It was an axe, its head a dull gray, its wooden handle worn smooth from countless hours of use. Timmy's eyes widened. His heart gave a mighty leap in his chest, a joyous flip-flop that made him gasp. "My axe," he cried out, his voice cracking with pure relief and happiness. "Grandpa Sage, that's my axe, my trusty iron axe." He pointed, his finger trembling slightly with excitement. "See, there's the small notch near the blade where I sharpened it myself, and the little dent on the handle from when I dropped it on a rock last spring." Grandpa Sage smiled, a genuine, wide smile that lit up his whole face and reached his twinkling eyes. "Indeed, Timmy, this is truly your iron axe." He held it out, and Timmy rushed forward, carefully taking his beloved tool from the old man's hand. He ran his fingers over the familiar iron head and the smooth wooden handle, feeling the comforting weight of it. It was more precious to him than all the silver and gold in the world, for it was his. "Oh, thank you, Grandpa Sage, thank you," Timmy exclaimed, tears of gratitude welling in his eyes and spilling down his cheeks. "You've saved me. I don't know how I'll ever repay you." Grandpa Sage shook his head gently, his white beard swaying. "Your honesty, young Timmy, is repayment enough. In a world where many would have gladly claimed the silver or gold, you chose truth. That is a rare and precious quality." He then did something extraordinary. With a simple wave of his hand, the shimmering silver axe and the magnificent golden axe, which had been resting on the riverbank, floated through the air and settled beside Timmy's feet. Timmy stared, utterly bewildered. But what?" he stammered, looking from the axes to Grandpa Sage, his mind unable to process what was happening. "Because of your integrity and your lack of greed," Grandpa Sage explained, his voice resonating with warmth and power. "I reward you with all three. The iron axe, which is yours by right, the silver axe, for your honesty, and the golden axe, for your unwavering truthfulness, even when tempted by great riches. Use them wisely, Timmy, and may they bring you good fortune." Before Timmy could even utter another word of thanks, Grandpa Sage began to shimmer. His outline blurred, and a gentle, sparkling mist rose around him. In the blink of an eye, he faded away, like a whisper carried on the wind, leaving behind only the faint scent of pine and river water, and the three gleaming axes on the bank. Timmy was left alone, clutching his iron axe, gazing at the impossible gifts. his heart overflowing with wonder and a deep, profound gratitude for the mysterious spirit of the river. He truly couldn't believe what had just happened. He had his own axe back, and to others he never dreamed of owning. He knew then that being honest was the greatest treasure of all. The air still shimmered with a faint, magical glow where Grandpa's sage had vanished. Timmy stood by the swift-current river, his heart thumping like a drum against his ribs. Clutched in his arms were not one, but 3 axes. His beloved iron axe, and 2 more, one silver and one gold, gleaming brighter than any treasure he had ever imagined. Was this real? He pinched himself. Ouch. Definitely not a dream. He looked down at the familiar, comforting weight of his old iron axe. The handle had splinters from years of hard work, and the blade had nicks, each one a memory of a tree felled and a meal earned. "Oh, my dear friend," he whispered, running a thumb over its cool metal. "You're back." It felt like a warm hug. Next, he carefully picked up the silver axe. It was lighter than he expected, yet exquisitely crafted. Moonlight seemed to be trapped within its polished surface, and the handle was smooth, carved with delicate patterns of swirling leaves. It felt important, almost too precious to use. He could just imagine it shimmering under the sun, catching every single ray of light. Then, with both hands, he lifted the golden axe. It was surprisingly heavy, solid, and regal. The gold gleamed with a deep, rich luster, and its blade was so perfectly sharp, it looked as if it could slice through the very air without a sound. Tiny, intricate designs of soaring birds and blossoming flowers were etched into its golden head, shining like tiny stars. This wasn't just an axe. It was a king's treasure. Timmy sat down on the riverbank, the 3 axes carefully laid out before him. For so long, his life had been simple. Wake up, chop wood, sell wood, eat, sleep. Now, everything felt different. The iron axe meant he could continue his work, provide for himself. The silver and gold axes, what did they mean? He thought of Grandpa Sage's twinkling eyes, his gentle smile, and the way he had disappeared like mist in the morning sun. He was a spirit, Timmy murmured to himself, a kind spirit who rewarded honesty. A warm feeling spread through his chest. He hadn't asked for riches, only for his own axe, and yet, here they were. A squirrel chattered from a nearby oak, breaking his thoughts. Timmy smiled. Even the forest seemed to be celebrating with him. But what should he do? He couldn't just walk into the village with a solid gold axe slung over his shoulder. People would stare. They might even try to take it from him. He was still just Timmy the woodcutter, but now he had secrets. Big, shiny, golden secrets. He decided right then that the silver and gold axes were too special for everyday chopping. They were gifts, treasures to be cared for, perhaps to help him beyond just cutting wood. He would keep them safe, hidden away in his humble cabin, bringing them out only to marvel at their beauty. With renewed purpose, he picked up his trusty iron axe. Its familiar weight felt good in his hands. He stood up, a new spring in his step. He still had wood to chop, but now he felt a sense of security he hadn't known before. He wasn't just working for survival. He was working with a grateful heart, knowing that honesty had brought him more than just his axe back. It had brought him hope and a little bit of magic. He began to chop, the rhythmic thwack of his iron axe against the wood echoing through the peaceful forest. Each swing felt stronger, each log split easier. He knew his life had changed, but he also knew that the most important part of him, his honest heart, remained the same. And that, he realized, was the greatest treasure of all. He tucked the precious axes carefully into his worn satchel, determined to find a safe place for them back at his cabin. The sun was beginning to dip below the trees, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple. Timmy knew he had a lot to think about, and a new, exciting chapter of his life had just begun. Timmy's life had changed, but his honest heart hadn't. He still woke with the sun, his trusty iron axe gleaming by his side. He continued to chop wood, his muscles strong, his spirit light, just as he always had. But now, when he returned home to his cozy cabin, a small, secure chest held his shimmering silver axe and his magnificent golden axe. He didn't forget Grandpa Sage's kind words or the profound lesson he learned by the swift current river. The memory of the benevolent spirit was etched in his mind, a constant reminder of the magic that honesty could bring. One day, as Timmy worked, his axe singing against the timber, he noticed something in the nearby village. The small community, which had always been a bit run down, seemed to be struggling more than usual. The old wooden bridge over the creek creaked ominously with every passing cart, threatening to collapse. Many families found it harder and harder to put enough food on their tables, their faces etched with worry. Timmy remembered his own despair when he thought he had lost everything, and a powerful feeling of empathy spread through his chest. He had been given so much, an abundance he never dreamed of. Perhaps, he realized, he could now give back. He carefully took the silver axe, wrapped in a clean cloth, to a larger town many miles away. He didn't boast or brag. He simply approached a kind old woman named Mrs. Willow, who ran a reputable trading post. With his open and honest gaze, Timmy explained that he had come into possession of a beautiful silver axe and wished to trade it for a fair value, enough to help his village. Mrs. Willow, a wise judge of character, recognized the axe's quality and, impressed by Timmy's sincerity, offered a very generous price. With the money, Timmy didn't buy fancy clothes or a grand house. His first thought was of the creaking bridge. He bought the strongest timber he could find and hired several villagers who desperately needed work, paying them fairly. Together, they rebuilt the wobbly bridge, transforming it into a safe, sturdy pathway for everyone. Next, he purchased quality seeds and shared them freely, along with simple tools so every family could grow fresh vegetables. He even helped mend the leaky roof of the village schoolhouse, ensuring the children stayed dry during lessons. The villagers were astonished. "Timmy," they asked, their voices filled with wonder, "how can you possibly afford all this? You've changed our village." Timmy smiled, his honest eyes twinkling. "A kind spirit once reminded me that an honest heart is the greatest treasure," he explained softly. "And sometimes that honesty brings unexpected, wonderful gifts. These gifts, I believe, are meant to be shared." He continued to work as a woodcutter, never forgetting the value of honest labor. The magnificent golden axe remained his most special treasure, carefully stored, a shining symbol of the reward for his integrity. He kept it safe, knowing that one day it might be used for an even grander purpose, one that would uplift not just his village, but many others. Timmy's life flourished, not just with material well-being, but with the profound respect and love of his community. He was known as the kindest and most generous man in the entire valley. He built a modest, comfortable home, always with a warm fire crackling in the hearth. Children would gather around him, listening to his tales of the forest, and sometimes whispered hint of the magical encounter that had changed his life forever. He understood that true riches weren't just about gleaming gold or shimmering silver, but about a clear conscience, a generous spirit, and the deep joy of helping others. Grandpa Sage's lesson was everlasting. Honesty isn't just rewarded, it is the reward, opening doors to a life filled with purpose and true happiness. And so, Timmy, the honest woodcutter, lived a long, fulfilling life, his story becoming a cherished legend. a testament to the simple, powerful truth that good deeds and an honest heart shine brightest of all. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content just like this. See you next time.